VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Yes! Here we go. Follow the Money. Paulie Howard, Mike Palm, Mitch Moss out all week. Big Monday Night Football game today. You cannot be serious in 90 minutes. Nick Bogdanovich on the final week. Regular season college football. The good, the bad, the ugly. Thank God you're sitting here, my friend, in 10 minutes. The update, $14 million on the line. Dead, jail, what happened? Did you oversleep? No pick. We'll get to all of it coming up on a loaded Monday. Can't wait. Good to see you. How you been, Maestro?
Wonderful. Wonderful. Nice to be back. First time in this new time slot. So we hope Mitch is enjoying his time back in Wisconsin and enjoys the Packer game on Thursday, whether they go to it or not. But some nice time off for him, which he traditionally takes. Which
is suddenly a big game. Huge game, as Miami's not out of this. And it's a great way to cap off Thanksgiving. An all-timer yesterday. I said Friday it's the worst schedule of the year in the NFL. And then that happened. It wasn't the witching hour. It was the witching hour and a half. The sequence there, which you'll address with a big bet here, but Carolina and Kansas City, are the Chiefs going to go down? And then what happened with Washington, Dallas, and Chicago and Minnesota? Number one, Washington, no hyperbole, as we used to say, the worst performance in NFL history from a special teams unit. Not one, but two kickoff returns. You missed 2 extra points and a field goal. It was the first game in NFL history that there were 2 missed extra points, 2 kickoff returns, and a blocked punt. And look at this screenshot as I was pounding the under in play and got carried out. That is with 5 minutes left in the game. Look at this. It's 13-9. 13-9, yet it finishes 34-26 in regulation. Cannot believe what transpired. All those points. The Mickey Mouse Pee-wee, I mean, you can't, if it's flag football, you don't even make the tackle. On the McLaurin touchdown, and you called it, and you said to Derek Stevens as it happened, after you get the gift yet again, and you're Washington, you get the Hail Mary, and then you get the gift touchdown, you must go for 2 there.
I think so because Dallas is scattered at that point. You know what play you're going to run for 2. Dallas just gave up one of the worst defensive plays in NFL history. Yeah. You let a guy go untouched for 86 yards with 20 seconds to go in the game.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? And he'd missed it. Siebert had missed an extra point earlier in the game. We sat here in pod 1 here. We had 3 survivor entrants. They were all on the Redskins.
Oh, no.
I say Redskins, Commanders. So we were sweating just as the second half unfurled, the depression. And then you get that play. People are crying. They're jumping up and down. And they have no time to celebrate before he misses the extra point. But I thought it was obvious answer there is you go for 2. Because you've got that. Dallas has no idea what defense they want to call. And you have a mobile quarterback.
Right.
I think that makes it much more, I don't know what the numbers are, but that's got to add 5 or 6% to your chances of converting to have a mobile quarterback from the 3.
Yeah. Well, you're a poker player. And it's a free roll. Yeah. It's found money at that point. The game's over. You get a gift from the gods. And just go for 2 and try to get the win. And this guy, I know he was hurt, but he's been shaky coming off the injury, and he misses 3 kicks.
The screenshot is really perfect because this is the blown coverage play where they throw the touchdown.
Yeah, right.
I had under 35.5 in-game, Paul. And I'm thinking here, get a field goal. Worst case scenario, they go to overtime at 32 and you get a field goal in overtime. I still win here, right? Then they got the touch, and I said, no, I just need one stop. I just need, of course, nothing could come to fruition in this game.
And then the Cowboy, the Turpin play was nuts. I mean, does the 360 spin. No one gets a hand on him. He goes the distance. And then you return the onside kick, which then McCarthy's losing his mind. Why didn't you fall down? We got to go through this again. The game's over. I mean, come on. But that's just that's to be 13-9 with 5 minutes left, and that winds up to be the final score. Now, the other thing, as we were texting back and forth while this is going on early, this is a terrible Dallas team now, and a terrible Dallas defense. Daniels is hurt. What happened? You got Mariota sitting there. So people's, they figured out the offense. Well, I'm not going to go that far. But you have a guy who's not even close to 100%, And they had the only reason they were moving the ball is because Dallas went soft coverage there and was playing a little prevent and giving them everything over the middle there. You got 9 points with 5 minutes left.
Yeah,
I would just say wait till you're close to 100%. You can't lose that game. You just can't. Now you're a coin flip to make the playoffs. Let's get the couple wins here, put the playoffs in our back pocket, then we'll bring you back when you're close to 100% because clearly he's compromised.
You know, I said at halftime I thought Mariota would give them a better shot to win in the second half. I thought that on Thursday Night Football, Daniels was cold. And I thought the cold weather in Philadelphia affected how he played because he didn't look right. Maybe he wasn't cold. Maybe cold isn't the issue. He's just been hurt. But he clearly is not 100%.
Right. Not himself at all. No. And that's a killer loss for Washington. And then the survivor implications, which we'll get to coming up. So, at the same time, then you have the second time in NFL history that a team forces overtime. The Bears are down 11 with 22 seconds left. And somehow they come back and force overtime. And, the Vikings made the plays, made the kick, and they win the game, and they survive. But you'll never see that again either, where there's 22 seconds. You're down 11, and somehow I don't know. I saw 20-1. I'm sure it was a lot higher than that. But to think that the Bears are in position there with the ball, with a chance to win the game, that's an all-timer.
It might have been 20-1 that Carlos Santos would make that field goal.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Have you read the special teams after the game? The special teams players are on the Vikings and the coach. We knew we were going to block at least one kick. Santos kicks the ball lower than anybody in the league, and the Bears' offensive line don't know how to kick block. Their splits are way too wide. You can get pressure up the middle.
Just like the Packers.
They said, we've talked to 3 teams who played him that said you're going to block a kick.
Oh, man.
Well, how did the Bears not know this?
Yep.
And then
again.
Santos, I kick it lower because it's always windy in Chicago, so I'm trying to drive the ball through the wind, but I'll work on trying to get it higher. And meanwhile, it started left and it took the right turn.
I know. Can you
just
believe
like a
that?
Mason Crosby kick against Dallas in the playoffs.
Yes.
The hand of God went right back in and beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Same thing there.
Yeah. Eberflus does it again. 2-17 now against teams with a winning record. And you finally, Williams looks like the number 1 pick. He made some incredible throws. You scored 27 points against a tough Viking defense. Where is the Chicago defense? Jefferson had 7 yards through regulation. But still, Minnesota had not one but 2 100-yard wide receivers and allowed a 100-yard rushing attack as well. Here's the Kevin Seifert tweet from ESPN. Teams that were down 10-plus points in the final 30 seconds of regulation are now 1,882 since the start of the century. The Bears were the second team over that span to force overtime. The Lions, 12 years ago, were the other. They both recovered onside kicks. Give me a break.
I give Darnold credit here, and I give Jefferson credit here too. He didn't try to force the ball to Jefferson, right? He finally has started in the last couple weeks looking for Addison. And here's the credit I give to Jefferson, because there's a lot of diva wide receivers in this league that would be complaining today about they didn't get enough targets.
Yeah.
He doesn't care as long as they win.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get any targets and they lose, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And so, I think Darnold continues to do a good job for this team. Paul, I know you grew up in Minnesota, and something nobody's talking about. McCarthy had another surgery on his knee. Nobody's really talking about this, but there may be
another quarterback. Yeah,
there may be big trouble there.
Right. You come back with Darnold. Do you Aaron Rodgers route? I mean, who knows what they're going to do?
I think they go out and get somebody else.
Yeah. Right. And then the Houston Tennessee game was just insanity as well. I mean, to think I tried to warn you 2 months ago about how bad Stroud has been. Houston scores 15 seconds into the game. They have a pick 6. They recover a muff punt. They have 11 penalties, and they lose to Will Levis at home. Oh! And then to cap it off, our buddy, Antonio Pierce. Broncos minus 5.5, 6, never in doubt. What are you doing in the final minute? Where it's like you're down 10. Are you going to kick the field goal one? And then first and goal from the 1, 20 seconds, incomplete pass, Ritter sacked, clock runs out. At no point was Pierce going to kick the field goal. Apparently, he was just concerned about covering the spread. This guy, the stuff you see week in, week out with Pierce, not qualified, has no business being a coach. We just see the nonsense and insanity every single week that he does. Why would you got to kick on 4th down? You're down 10. You got to give yourself time.
Most teams would have kicked with 35 seconds left. Make the field goal and give yourself a shot if you recover the ball. But certainly you don't go on 4th down at the 5-yard line. I will say this about this Tennessee team. That's a high school offense they're running, right? Levis, one of the dumbest quarterbacks I've ever, but they play hard every game.
Yeah,
they play hard for Callahan every game. They're in the games, right? Detroit game was the only game that they really got smashed. Paul, I was staring at an in-game number when Houston was down 3 and they were 3rd and 10 on the 11-yard line, right? With whatever it was.
I think I
40
saw
seconds
this.
left.
$1.80 or
They
something?
were minus $1.80
to win the game, yeah.
To win the game, I said,
Yep.
you could come back with plus $1.40 on the team. If you force a field goal, you get the last possession. I mean, the $1.80 assumes that they are a favorite to score a touchdown on 3rd and 10.
Yep.
Then he misses the field goal.
Miss another one.
Right?
Yep. Misses another one.
It went from plus 140 to minus 1,600 when he missed the field goal.
Yep.
And meanwhile, that Houston still got the ball back.
Yep. And then the safety. And he pulls the Orlovsky. Yep. It's just, what's Pierce doing? That's just common sense. No. It's like he was the only thing he wanted to do there was cover the spread. At no point was he going to kick the field goal.
Never crossed his mind.
Yeah. But if you had the Broncos, congratulations. And Peyton does it again. And as a result of that win and what happened with Daniels, Bo Nix is now plus 125 to an Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is like Paul Skeens all over again. This is just flipped like that.
I think if you bet Nix before the season, now when Daniels is down to minus 130, you got to hedge it a little bit here.
Yeah.
A little, right?
Right.
Because this is the lowest price you're ever going to get on him.
Yeah. Guy was like 7-1.
The movement is
couple
amazing.
Weeks
It's
ago.
like Saquon for MVP.
I'm sitting next to the VP of Circa. What happened? $14 million on the line. And the big surprise Saturday night in the contest show. What happened? We'll try to get an explanation coming up next on Follow the Money. VSiN, baby.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
And they're off.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's Late Night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great Monday night football game. The preview coming up in 10 minutes. All-time win-lose as well. The Dogs in college football. And it might be longer than Van Pelt and Stanford Steve with the bad beats. Okay, so every Saturday night here on the network, you can watch the contest show, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Derek Stevens, Jeff Benson, Mike Somich, and Matt Brown. And they unveil the Circa Millions top picks and also Survivor. And we were going into the week, we were under 100. Nothing on the line, just $14 million. So the documentary, which has been so good, following everybody around. And Mitch asked the question Friday, was anyone on Pittsburgh? You can never say anything, you can't answer the question, but we found out that was a big one right off the bat. There's so many things against you there. Why? Road game, divisional game, bad weather, Thursday night. 0 for 4, and still 3 people pick Pittsburgh.
Road teams are really tough on Thursday on the shore. Plus, you just came off a huge win over Baltimore. It's a letdown spot as well.
We didn't know blizzard, but you knew bad weather was in play.
We saw pictures and this and that, but I really didn't consider it that someone was going to use them. And then Jeff Benson texted us at halftime, me and Derek, there's three on Pittsburgh here. So, wow. And then it looked early in the fourth quarter. It looked like you're going to be okay and skate home. But
That's right.
But it didn't happen. So I actually, at that point, Friday, I was thinking about that will be the big reaction on Saturday when they announced that 3 went out and we're down to 96.
Yeah, right.
Not the headline.
Not the headline. So, this late, $14 million on the line. The equity was almost $200,000, and we had a no pick. It has to be a local because a proxy would put the pick in for them.
Yeah, they'd make the best pick they could if you couldn't get a hold of them.
Right. I talked to Scott Tribuco today, he's still alive, and Scott says, I have an agreement with the proxy. If something happens to me, if I get in an accident, if I'm in the hospital, you must put a pick in. And they have that agreement. I would rule out jail. Jail, you get a phone call. They let you, like the Joker in The Dark Knight, I like to use my phone call. So we can rule that out. So it's I don't know if, passed away is a small dog. Overslept, I think, is the favorite. We had this same scenario play out a couple years ago. We were deep in the contest. A local who was a dealer on the graveyard shift went to work, said, I'm going to lay down, take a nap, set my alarm, wake up, put my pick in. He overslept. You got the phone call at like 3 o'clock. What can you do for me? 3:02. Sorry, you're out.
Yeah. But, of course, not this much money on the line. And I think we're with less, under 100. I think it was right around that number with the dealer was like 110, 115. But, of course, the prize pool then was a third of what it is now.
Right. Do you have any information, Maestro?
I do not. I asked Jeff Benson, and he has not heard from anyone. No one has reached out to us, Derek, or anything. Your deductive reasoning here, Detective, is pretty good, right? That it's a local because of no proxy. And it has to involve some form of a loss of consciousness, wouldn't you think? Whether in the hospital unconscious, they were in an accident. It's all bad things when you think about it. Like,
right.
Hopefully the story is something goofy and that the person isn't hurt or dead. And maybe we'll find out at some point, and maybe it'll come out in a show, and maybe they'll be able to get it into this documentary. You and Mitch made a good point last year when they showed the documentary. They should delve more into these no picks, especially the ones late in the season, and try to hear from these people. So
Amen.
We will continue to keep our ears open and see what happens. But we don't want to say too much when you don't know, because it's most likely bad.
Yeah, well said. But I still think, just the way I am and the way I think, I would think overslept, because I don't want to get dark, but I would say overslept. I don't know, cell phone issue, something, drove across town. I mean, Mitch, we both made deep runs here. I've made deep runs the last 2 years. It consumes you, and it's all you think about, and yet you forget to put the pick in.
Speaking of deep runs, sitting here yesterday during the 10 a.m. Pacific time block, between 10 and 11, all I could think about was how must Paul feel knowing that Tommy DeVito took him out.
Yes, I know.
Watching him complete 3 passes in the first half for 30.
I know. Right.
How is that possible that happened to you?
I know. How did that? It was kind of like Jeremy Lin. Although Jeremy Lin went on, at least that was okay, but it came out of nowhere. How did someone put together that stretch Well, he wasn't Tom Brady, but the guy was okay and won games and was Tommy Cutlets, and he's doing appearances, and they can't get a first down in a blowout with him. And he took me out last year. So you mentioned how difficult it was watching 33 people on the Commanders, 33 on Miami, 8 on Kansas City. Boy, was that hairy.
We took a $1.5 million bet on the Chiefs on the money line. So we had quite a sweat on that. I mean, if Carolina had been at all efficient in the red zone in the first half, they could have got a little bit of control of this. They still had, with 40 seconds to go, a third down on Mahomes. Mahomes had to convert a 3rd and 2 there. If they don't get it, they punt. They got a shot to kick a field goal on the end and upset them. Kansas City playing with their food again.
That's right. 10 wins, 8 of them by 1 score, right? 8 on the Texans, out. Horrible performance. 8 on Denver, you survive. Great job, Tampa Bay. No one's 100%, nothing's a lock. I told you all week they would bury the Giants. It's a mutiny in that locker room. Paul Bovey was one of them. Well played. 4 people to use Tampa. 3 on the Steelers, as we mentioned, 1 on the Packers, and the no pick. So
Scotty had the Broncos. Our friend Scotty Tribuco. I said to him, I don't like using road teams. I would use the Broncos next week on Sunday, or it's actually Monday, Cleveland at Denver. And he said, well, then who would you use this week? I said, you have to take a hard look at the Bucs. Think about this Bucs team. They're the only team to beat Detroit, and they did it in Detroit. They took Kansas City to overtime in Arrowhead on them. This is a really good team.
Absolutely.
And Baker is a really good leader.
Right.
He's a really good leader.
Right.
This should be a play. I bet them plus 270 to make the playoffs last week.
They're going to get there.
I think they can.
It's great value.
Atlanta's
easy schedule. Totally. So the other angle is, going back, one more thing on the no pick. If there was going to be a no pick this late, it would be this week, because now you must play the Thursday, the Thanksgiving, or the Black Friday, and then the short turnaround, or you want to get into Christmas too, where there's 2 games on Christmas, one the following day. You got to play one of those games, and then the short turnaround. That's where I would think someone would say, oh, I forgot, whatever. That's when you think you would have the no pick. So now you got to play one of the 4 games now, either Christmas or the Black Friday game. But the other angle, there are 4 people who have multiple entries left. And Wise Guy finally got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He had 6. He's down to 2. He had 2 on Denver and 4 on Washington. I would have split it up. I would have pecked. Give me a Miami. Give me a Tampa.
Yeah.
Give me a I'd go out and have 1 on Washington. Give me a Denver. I would mix it up because you just have such big advantage. But he goes out with 4 on Washington now. So now it really gets interesting here.
I want to ask your opinion now, heading into Thursday, because I think with the Giants' performance, people who had saved Dallas and said, I can't use Dallas, might think Dallas is playable. Let's just talk about from the perspective if you don't have Detroit.
Right.
Because if you have Detroit, you're using Detroit against the Bears. If you have both Dallas and Green Bay available on Thursday and you have 1 entry left.
Tough call.
Oh, it's tough. Splitting hairs there.
That's a tough call.
Do you play a better team against a decent team in Green Bay over Miami and hope it's really cold? And hope it is as cold as can be for Tua going up to Green Bay? Or do you try to play against the Giants with the Cowboys? Listen, tell me something. Before the Cowboys won that game yesterday, they weren't even like an NFL team. You couldn't make a number big enough for them.
No, I agree.
The defense is all-time bad, and they had no offense without Dak.
Right.
They can't run the ball at all. I mean, so is 1 week enough to change your mind on using Dallas?
You have a horrible situation in New York. Horrible.
Did you
see the comments?
Effing soft.
Ass.
No,
we looked like ass.
No one's giving 100%.
How about
what
that
are these
line?
comments?
Yeah. I think it was Lawrence. We looked like ass. What? We played like ass. Soft neighbors. Why weren't you getting the ball? I don't know. Ask Dable. He had to meet with him today. If it's Tommy Cutlets again Thursday, I think to answer your question, it's got to be Dallas, because Mitch is right. All this Tua in the cold. But it's still a team that needs the game, and it's a 3-point spread.
And meanwhile, they run the ball they have a very creative running game there. I like the way they run and everything's quick hitting with that Miami team. They had a long stretch again where they haven't punted, right? That team is moving the ball well. And it might be a balmy night. I mean, you're not going to get Kansas City 30 below with the wind chill.
Yeah.
All right, we know that's not going to happen in November in Green Bay.
The all-new VSiN Watch app makes it easy to watch or listen to VSiN anywhere, anytime. Visit the Apple app or Google Play Store now. Download the VSiN Watch app. 24/7 access, live audio, video streams. Watch replays of your favorite shows. Easily stream the video to your smart TV and browse clips by sport or use the search feature to find the specific VSiN expert insights you're interested in. The VSiN Watch app's free to download, both Apple and Android. Don't delay. Visit the Apple or Google App Store now. Get it. Become part of the team with the VSiN Watch app. Big game tonight. Looking forward to it. 4-point move on the total. The Harbaugh Bowl. I will make the case and put you on the Ravens when I give you these numbers coming up next. Paulie Howard, Mike Palm, VSiN, Follow the Money, the Sports Betting Network.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
No one on Baltimore or the Chargers in Survivor tonight. 54 people are left. Implied value of each entry, $264,000. And again, 4 people have 2 entries left. And it gets juicy now with Thanksgiving coming up. All right, good one tonight. Monday Night Football, Harbaugh Bowl. Big one for Baltimore as well. It also Lamar's MVP chances. Like, how many losses can you have if you're an MVP? And coming off the loss and the tough performance against Pittsburgh, they've been the best team in the league covering after a loss since 2020. And they've covered 6 of their last 7 after a loss. Chargers, both things can be true. Good team, huge upgrade once you get rid of the high school coach with Staley and you go to Harbaugh. Tough team, run the ball, play defense. But the record, the Chargers of teams they've beat, 24-52. So you lost to Arizona, you lost to Kansas City. And I was a little bit concerned with what happened in the last game against Cincinnati. Well, I know they have a lot of weapons, but you couldn't get a stop. So suddenly this great defense, which is number 1 in the league in scoring defense, definitely cause for concern because here comes the number 1 offense in the league. 8 of the 10 games, the Chargers have held their opponents to 17 points or fewer. Cincinnati was the first team to score more than 20 against the Chargers last week. But Baltimore struggles against the pass, awful against the pass, but good against the run. You know what Harbaugh wants to do. But the thing here is the Chargers do have issues stopping the run. So Henry can go off. Lamar and his receivers can go off. They played last year, same site, 20-10, Baltimore. 47 was the total, now up to 51. Ravens laying 2.5 on the road. I like the Ravens. They got to have it. What do you think, Maestro? I like the Chargers, but I think they haven't lived up to the billing and the hype when they play good teams.
I made one bet on this game. I bet Lamar under 46.5 rushing yards. And
Really?
Yeah, here's why. Because I think these two brothers obviously know each other very, very well, Paul. And I think Jim Harbaugh, for somebody that's outside of the AFC North, probably has a better read on this Baltimore offense than any because it's his brother. And they know that the key to stopping Baltimore is not to let Lamar get loose. They like to play zone. You've got to rush him from the outside and not let him get around the corner and try to contain him, make him become a pocket passer. You saw what Pittsburgh was able to do. He bought time in the pocket. He'd run back and forth and give himself extra time. But he wasn't able to make the big plays out of that. And I know the receivers dropped a couple balls. But these teams in the AFC North have a game plan for him. And I think, I think Henry will be much more successful in a traditional running game against the Chargers than Lamar scrambling.
Okay. Here's another big thing here. Baltimore's number 1 in the red zone. Chargers are 21st. Harbaugh did it in that last Monday night game against Arizona. He gets too conservative once they cross midfield, and he wants to settle and take the 3, which that's going to get you beat, especially against these guys. Their defense is also 23rd in rushing yards allowed per rush, so that's another cause for concern when you're talking about Henry and also Lamar. But how many times going back have we gone into a game where the Ravens do not have the edge at kicker? And you've been on this for quite some time. The issues with Tucker and how I can count on Dicker from 55 plus, and it's not a problem. In the last 2 years, Tucker on kicks of 50 plus, 4 of 12, 6 misses this year, and he's shook a little bit too with his confidence. So again, you see the spread, 2.5. If it's going to be a close game, that's where the Chargers have a big edge here with the special teams and the uncertainty of Tucker.
How about more points, Tucker versus Dicker? To your point about red zone efficiency, there'd be more threes. He's missed 7 kicks, Paul. He's missed 6 field goals and an extra point in 11 games this year. Their points prop is both 7.5, so you could find a straight up who has more points tonight, pretty near even. I don't think the juice would be more than 115 on Dicker.
He's also, I think, plus 105. Chargers' longest made field goal. That's another one too, where it's like Harbaugh has to be aggressive and think if it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, whatever. Am I going to try a 50-some yard field goal with this guy and the issues that he has?
Well,
so we're split. We're against each other on the Lamar Jackson prop. But I'm with you with Henry. I mean, this is a big moment for Henry. He scored a touchdown in every game. You also see what Barkley, boy, the movement on Barkley last night. Whoa, MVP and also Offensive Player of the Year. But I think it's a big game for Henry, and I think he can go off here against a suspect Charger defense, a run defense, rather.
The difference of the game is Boswell kicked 6 field goals, and Tucker missed 2 last week.
Yeah. And Tomlin tried from, it was what, 4th and 1? 4th and 2. He trots him out from 58, and he makes it. A couple props that I like. Herbert has thrown 1 interception the entire season. So, again, it goes back to coaching, Harbaugh Bowl, taking care of it, don't turn it over. They have the fewest giveaways in the league, and Herbert, 1 interception. No interception is plus 105. You have to take that with Herbert, who's been so good taking care of the ball. Now, McConkey, a little bit banged up. We'll see if he goes. People like Johnson prop over. I like Herbert over, though, 259.5. He was great against Cincinnati, and I think he'll have a lot of success through the air. And we know about the splits and how Baltimore is against the run versus the pass. So there's a couple there. Herbert over and Herbert no interception. The other one is Disley, who I think he's low 40s for his prop. Baltimore allows almost 70 receiving yards a game to tight ends. And going back, he's had 6+ targets 4 of the last 5 games. That's another one where I think he can go off and go over. And I'm not going to go crazy with the ladder bets, but I think he's good to go over that as well. But it's going to be a huge spot here. Because if you're the Ravens, you get that gift Thursday. You have Philadelphia on deck. You lose this game, all of a sudden it's whoop. You're going to be on the road for the playoffs, and it's going to be difficult. And then I would also say, give me a score. Give me 24-20, right? I mean, if they lose this game again, what are we going to do with Lamar's MVP odds? Barkley's going to pass him. Goff's right back up in the discussion. And then certainly Allen, the favorite, and rightfully so. But it's, again, how many losses can you take here that we're going to give it to the MVP with all these losses?
Well, I mean, you have the whole history where the MVP comes from a 1 seed. The quarterback from a 1 seed. And so you're right about the losses. How about this one for you, Paul? Derrick Henry scores a touchdown and the Ravens win the game tonight. Plus 125.
Yeah, that's not bad. Scored every game, yeah.
Scored every game, and you're turning the money line into plus 125.
Okay, sure.
That's available here at Circa.
Yep. What do you think? There's another cool one, but the running backs. Henry and Dobbins to score plus 235.
Yeah, 235.
Yep. And, stick it to my former team with that angle. Where are you at with the Chargers? Is this a team that can make a deep run in January?
I think they're overachieving, to be honest with you, Paul.
Now, they beat Denver. That was a good job. But
that was their best game. They went to Denver and controlled the game, but they got ahead early.
They did. They sat on it, though.
They got ahead early, and they made Denver be very one-dimensional with Nick's having to throw the ball the whole game. Mm-hmm. And so that's very good. A lot of teams can win from out in front. I just don't think the roster's that talented. You've seen what a culture changer and Jim Harbaugh can do, getting tough, not playing wild analytics and going on 4th down all the time. I mean, that's such an extreme to what they came from. I just think their ceiling is relatively low. I don't see them going on the road, going east, and winning playoff games. I just think it's going to be too tough for them to go into even if they to make it, they're going to have to go to Baltimore. They're going to have to go to Buffalo. They're going to have to go to Kansas City. I don't know that they can do that in January.
They were bad in the first meeting against Kansas City, right? They play them coming up. If they play, if tomorrow they go to Houston in the first round, I would love them.
Well,
they don't take it away. Stroud's a turnover machine, and they have all these issues defensively, right? Okay, so Baltimore's beat them 4 in a row in the regular season. And again, going back, the number 1 team in the league, covering off a loss since 2020, 18-8-1 and 6-1 the last 2 years.
Baltimore does good traveling west, too. They go out to California. They beat the Rams. They beat the Chargers. They beat the 49ers. They're a team that can go 3 time zones and be successful.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me is, you lose to bad teams. You've been at your best when you face the elite, above-average teams. Who'd you lose to? Chiefs came down to the final play, okay. But you somehow lose to the Raiders and you lose to Cleveland. Can't happen. If you haven't become a VSiN Pro subscriber, now's your chance to start betting smarter and save big. Sign up, Black Friday special. Get it today. VSiN Pro access. Everything we do through May 1st, $60. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits, DK Circa, 24/7 video access. All our betting guides and best bets for the upcoming college football playoffs, Super Bowl, and March Madness. Best offer ever in the history of the network. VSiN.com/subscribe. Black Friday special now. Perfect gift. We continue to put out great info and numbers every single day from the cast of thousands. VSiN.com/subscribe. Win, lose. Up next, it's going to be epic. The bad beats in all the sports. What happened with Mike's bet in soccer. And the double-digit dogs continue to cash in college football. We'll get to all that coming up next. VSiN, Follow the Money, the Sports Betting Network.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
First touchdown in the early games, Texans 9-1. How'd that feel? 15 seconds in. Highest scoring game, Dallas-Washington 8-1. Lowest scoring game, Seattle-Arizona 7-1. Highest scoring team, dead heat. Dallas 60-1. Miami plus 750. The Cowboys of all teams do it. Lowest scoring team. Also a dead heat. Indianapolis, and the Arizona 25-1 and 20-1. Passing yards, Williams 20-1. Most rushing, Barkley 5-1. At DraftKings, will a running back go for 200 yards on Sunday? Yes, 11-1. Addison leads with receiving. He was 50-1. Cowboy money line plus 450. Titans money line plus 330. Panthers 10-1 to the over in the first half. Successful onside kick. Yes, plus 450. We have you covered. College football, double-digit dog has won every week. Oklahoma plus 550. Stuns Alabama. Kennesaw State plus 260. App State plus 240. Georgia State 11-1. They were catching, I think, 23 in that game and won. UAB plus 230. Oregon State plus 340. Florida plus 445. Lane Kiffin off a bye. What could go wrong? Inexcusable. Not ready to play. You win the game, you're in the playoff. How bad was Dart? 3 interceptions in a minute? You'll never see that again.
I'll give you a stat in good, bad, and ugly on Lane Kiffin in the red zone.
Most points, South Florida, 12-1. Soccer, Tottenham plus 650. Man City's lost 5 in a row. 4-0, too, no problem. Everton, Brentford, 0-0, 11-1. Wolverhampton plus 475. League One, Shrewsbury Town, plus 750. Shocked Birmingham City, Tom Brady's club. Oh, Memphis blew it. Oh, no. Maui Invitational. Are we going to overtime? Memphis was up 6 with like 30 seconds. UConn, 9-point favorites. We're going to overtime. Oh, man. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. Oh, wrong one there, guys. Looking for the Dolphin here. Wrong one. My fault with the number. Yep. Let me give you this, Mike. Jay Cornegay, long time at the Westgate. It's from Roxy Roxborough. Since it opened in 1986, the Westgate Superbook has had 2 managers. 2. Art Manteris and Jay Cornegay. High-pressure job, incredible stability, significant strip resort, 38 years. Jay is moving into a advisor role and announced his retirement. What a run. That was a good tweet.
Yeah, a lot more interviews for John Murray, I guess.
Could be. That's true. Yes. Here's the Dolphin video. Look at his best buddy here. The dog's waiting to jump in and looking for his Dolphin. And then he finally appears. He just goes right in, wants to hang out with his buddy. He goes, oh, there's the Dolphin. There he is. They're best friends. And he swims out to him. You don't see this one every day. That's incredible. Thanks for sending that in. There it is. Look at that. The dog and the Dolphin hanging out. Best friends. And he sees him every day, and there he is. I'll go out there and swim right at him. Excellent. Lose some. Disgrace. This SEC nonsense. Make it stop. Alabama, first game without a touchdown since 2011 when they lost at home 9-6 to LSU. Ole Miss from 9 up to 13. Northwestern 13.5 down to 10.5. Lost 50-6. Troy from 12 down to 7.5. Lost by 21. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State under. 68.5 down to 63. 56-48. Texas State from 19 up to 24. Couldn't even win the game. That coach is awful. They've been favored in every game. They're 6-5. Army, 17 down to 14. Game was over in the second quarter. Bad for the books. SMU, under. 58.5 down to 54.5. 33-7. Great job against Virginia. The touchdown they allowed was a miracle. Incredible play by the quarterback. Boston College, North Carolina, under. 56.5 down to 51. UCF West Virginia under, 65 down to 60, 31-21. New Mexico State, Middle Tennessee over, 50.5 up to 54.5, 36-21. The Packers, 1.5 up to 6.5 with all the injury news. Denver from 3 up to 6. Tampa from 3 up to 6. Both ice cream. Bad beats. Sunderland plus 265. England Championship League. They allowed a goal in the 93rd minute. What happened to you Friday in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich? The total was 2.5, 0-0, 80th minute? 2 goals in extra time?
Yeah, Harry Kane. Harry Kane scored on a penalty in the second half. I had under 3.5, under 2.5. Scored on a penalty in the second half. They go to extra time, 3 minutes added, Paul. 3 minutes added. He scores 2 goals in extra time. The first on a penalty. And now with 2 minutes, in the 95th minute, there was supposed to be 3 minutes of overtime. They kick the ball to him in the box. He takes it off his foot and heads it in himself on the final play of the game. They didn't even go from midfield. That was it. Final whistle blew. Yeah. Really bad beat.
Condolences. That is awful. Man.
Became fastest player ever to score 50 goals in the Bundesliga, by the way. Harry
Really?
Kane. Yeah, with the half trick on Friday.
Colorado State, Fresno State under 48. Touchdown with 5 seconds left. Colorado State goes for 2. 28-22 final. It also was bet from 48 down to 43.5. Air Force, Nevada, second half over. 2 touchdowns in the final minute?
Yeah.
Did the game go over, too, as a result?
I don't know what the start number was, but if the second half flew over and every in-game number went over.
You'll have this in the good coming up. Rutgers money line. Vicious beat. Bielema with a heady play. And a horrible job by Schiano. That's win some, lose some. Good job, guys. How about the Joey Knish tweet? And you sit here, the book is always packed every single day, and especially on the weekends. Joey Knish, the people who spend more than 10 minutes at a kiosk for a $5 10-leg same-game parlay should be deported. I mean, on the weekend, the lines are backed up. Just get in, get out.
I was, we can talk later, but I was in Washington, D.C. last week. That's why I wanted to on Wednesday. And I had dinner with Michael Lombardi. On Tuesday, I drove up to Atlantic City, and I had dinner with Michael Lombardi and Thomas Gable, who runs the sports book for MGM at the Borgata. And he said when National Harbor first opened, they were so overwhelmed with business, they had him go down there. He said, and I went down and I looked, he said there were people that had pulled slot chairs in front of the kiosk and were at the kiosk 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh. Number one, the people who aren't comfortable going to the window, I'll never understand. They're here to help you. It's a piece of cake. And then you just sit there and you set up shop. You know, it's like going to the bank. Like you say, 1-2 transactions, get out of there.
There should be a maximum number of transactions.
You can't sit there for 15 minutes at a kiosk, putting in your 10-teamers or your 8-teamers. Let's go.
$2 8-teamers.
Yeah, infuriating. So how about the trip about what you wanted to get into with some of the props and the yes-no?
Well, so I left on Sunday night, and because we had a committee meeting on Monday, the Public Policy Committee of the American Gaming Association, the board meeting on Tuesday, but one of the ladies that works for the Colorado Gaming Commission was there, and I hadn't met her before, but I wanted to talk to her about this, no negative bets. They came out with another 40-some plus bets in August they're not going to offer because they have negative connotation. Well, anytime touchdown score, you can't offer the no. Will a player hit a home run? You can't offer the no. These are really painful to our right in the state of Colorado. As Jeff Davis points out, you can't offer a golfer not to make the cut. So if we can't book the two sides of it, we're not booking it at all. If you can only book that someone's going to score a touchdown, you're just at the mercy of a high-scoring game. And it's a very popular bet in golf and the home run. So those are the 3 big ones. So we sent some stats into her. Liquidity of the market, what it does to the handle. I'm sure the other operators can talk about it. There was someone from Fanatics at my table, someone from FanDuel. So we all got to talk to her. So hopefully we'll have some meaningful discussions with Colorado on that decision, and maybe they can revisit it. And so the board meeting went well. We talked about the economy, the election, what that means, about the threats to the illegal gaming, the threats to the regulated operators. So then I drove up to D.C. So then, the Capitals were playing Tuesday night, so I wanted to make a bet on the Capitals game. So I'm in D.C., and so I switched to, the Caesars. You could switch the state, whatever. It's very convenient. But it won't locate me. It keeps saying it can't be located. So now I know 7 blocks away there's a Caesars book at the Cap Center. So I walk over there, I walk in, I geolocate, and I make the bet. So I went up and I said, where do you have to be in D.C. to make a bet? You have to be in a book? They said, anywhere in the district. I said, I can from my hotel. They said, where are you staying? I said, at the Waldorf. They said, oh, well, you can't make a bet within 2 blocks of a government building. So those, you're right there on the square. You've got to walk 2 blocks and get away to do it. So I found a bar that was 3 blocks away to watch the Cavs game and make bet. There's crazy rules in every state. I was so frustrated. I missed the Ovechkin anytime goal because the game had went off already. He scored 2, and that's where he broke his leg.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Man, incredible. Looking forward to this coming up next. Mike's going to make the case on a college football playoff prop, and we'll discuss the madness. Do we have 12 teams now? Now who gets in?